Why is training camp different? Because these guys actually get to hit each other. They get to lean on one another. And then when you play the game in the trenches, that's what matters. It's not what you do in OTAs. The key of training camp is you're able to do things as close to simulates what you're going to do on game day. We want to see all these guys compete. We want to see who's developing, who took the things that we taught in the spring and who carried it over. For the most part, we need to figure out and make the right evaluation of these guys to make sure that when it comes time to trim in the roster, that we're keeping the guys that we feel like fit our football team, not just based as a player, but as a person.
The Dallas Cowboys presentation of Countdown to Kickoff, presented by AT&T, is sponsored by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeti, officially licensed Yeti cowboy gear, is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. And by AT&T, connecting changes everything.
The first game jitters are no longer. This week, the Dallas Cowboys return home to AT&T Stadium after 26 days on the West Coast. Their second preseason opponent awaits. It's the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys, including a couple familiar faces, facing off here in Arlington. Welcome into Countdown to Kickoff alongside Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans leading you up to kickoff between the Cowboys and Ravens. And we're joined right off the top of the show with head coach Brian Schottenheimer. And coach, welcome home first off. I know it's been a long month, a hard-working month on the road in the West Coast. And now you get a chance to come home, see all these families. What's this moment like for you opening the doors here for the first time?
Well, we love, number one, being back home. We had a great training camp out in Oxnard, but we're thrilled to be back and be around our family, the people that we love, but also these fans. And we're excited to have a great game tonight against the Ravens.
What are some of the things that you've learned about this team now with one preseason game in the books, of course, the 26 days in Oxnard? What are some of the things you've picked up on here in your first month as an active head coach?
Yeah, well, I think, number one, these guys, they give us whatever we ask for. Whatever we emphasize, they're going to do that. They've practiced their butts off the entire time in training camp. Last game, we started a little bit slow, so that's something we want to try to do a little bit better tonight. How do you do that, Shotty? Well, the way you do that, number one, is you focus on one play at a time. You play that play to the best of your ability. When that play's over, you move on to the next play, and then you stack good plays together. And so that's one of the things that we're excited about tonight. And, again, we found our rhythm a little bit later last week in the game, but the biggest thing for us still is the evaluation process. There's some really cool position battles that we're trying to figure out, and that's the number one thing you're trying to get done with preseason football.
Brian, I think you reminded everybody of the end of this week that while we're changing training camp locations, training camp's not over. Yeah. You're going to get another look at Joe Milton tonight. You got a pretty good look at him the first preseason game. What do you want to see him take maybe the next steps in a game like this tonight?
Well, I really want him to pick up where he left off in the second half, before he got dinged up a little bit. He came out a little bit sped up last game, and it's funny talking to Joe after the game. He said, what, Shot? He goes, I really just didn't have fun early on. Like I was a little bit just nervous and excited and all those things because I didn't have fun. And really when Joe's at his best is when he's out there having a good time, and that's what he kind of did late in the game. And the end of the game showed just his ability to move the pocket, move the football down the field. He ran a little bit, which I think helped him settle down. He ran the guy over on the sidelines, kind of got him going a little bit. That normally always has a way of doing that. But, again, I think he's going to pick up where he left off in the second half.
In other words, play football, right?
Play football.
Don't be a robot. Looks like you're going to use some of your starters on the offensive line. You're going to get to see those guys. What are you hoping to get out of Booker, Beebe, and Nate Thomas?
Yeah, again, a little bit. Again, with Booker playing, we wanted Cooper to play, Beebe to play a little bit alongside him. That's important to help him with the calls and things like that. But really, it's just, again, the physical nature we want him to play with. This is a really stout run defense that you're going to see here in Baltimore. They're a 3-4 read and react defense, and they do a really nice job with their big guys inside of trying to hold the point of attack. So we're going to challenge our guys and come off the ball a little bit and see how we can do running the ball against a very physical front.
You've talked multiple times about the after-action reports and following up a game with things that you can improve upon. I know you're over the offense entirely, but what did you see from the defense in their after-action report with Coach Eberflus flying to the football, some of the things you did well in that first preseason game?
Yeah, our guys competed really, really hard. Again, in the first half, we actually slowed the run down pretty well. I think we gave up 3.1 yards per carry in the first half. Got away from us a little bit in the second half. The area we need to get better is tackling. So we changed a lot of things. We've been doing a bunch of ball drills in the early parts of individual. This week we went back to more tackling drills, just the basic principles of tackling. Same foot, same shoulder, striking, lifting the guy up. And so that's been really good for us. So what you expect as a coach is when you emphasize something, which this team has always done, when you emphasize something that shows up on game day.
One of the positions I think you're still trying to sort through because of the injuries, the cornerback position. You're going to look at maybe some different guys longer tonight?
Yeah, again, I think you'll see Kyer play a little bit tonight. He won't play a whole lot. But, yeah, we're going to keep mixing guys around. You'll see us moving some guys in. Keemon Hall, Zion at the nickel spot, some things we want to look at. Booth's going to play quite a bit. So those are guys that those battles, when you start looking at the numbers, it's like, okay, we got to make sure we have the right information. And that's not just on offense, defense, but that's on special teams as well. And so we've got a number of position battles where if you ask me right now hey, who are your 5 of this or who are your 6 of that, it'd be like, well, yeah, I don't know yet. So our job over these next 2 weeks between now and next Friday against Atlanta would be to figure those battles out.
Excited to see that position battle, some of the running back position battle today. It'll all be on display here in preseason week number 2. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer joining us now. Coach, thanks so much. Good luck tonight. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure.
When we come back here on Countdown to Kickoff, we're here from AT&T Stadium. Jerry World. Jerry joins us here on the sideline. This segment is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Raise your Dr. Pepper glass to America's team. It's a pepper thing. This Tuesday, the brand new documentary titled America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys will debut in front of the world on Netflix. And we have the gambler himself joining us now here on the sidelines. A great premiere early this week out on the West Coast. And now you get to return home to AT&T Stadium. Jerry Jones, the owner, GM, president of this Dallas Cowboys team, joins us now. And the Hall of Famer. It's always fun getting you on for the first time, but it's even better when it's right here in the home stadium.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And just so many reasons to be here. And I was with some of our group of really young people that are in their early years of their occupations. And if anything, this documentary is going to show some downtime, some hard times that everybody has. Including, certainly, I've had hard times. And then you get to see how staying with it, getting up, the proverbial get knocked down, get up. But the thing that I'm the proudest of, it shows a lot of fortitude by a lot of people, a team thing. And so look for that when you're watching that documentary, a team thing.
And speaking on the team, we get a chance to see this roster top to bottom tonight, and a lot of starters getting some opportunities to play. When you look at the roster moves throughout the offseason, both the ups and the downs, what's going to stick out to you, and what are you going to remember about this 2025 offseason?
Well, first of all, I'm going to go to where I thought we needed to address, and our big men in the front, our offensive line and our defensive line. Now, there are parts of that have to really excel to make those guys have a good year, defensive, offensive line. And that's the skilled guys outside. I love our skilled guys on offense all the way around, tight ends, receivers, and obviously we think Dak is one of the best there is in the game. You got to keep him standing, though, and that's that offensive line's job. And they need to block him up, keep him protected, so to speak. And then again, we really need to have more cohesion, less pre-snap mistakes. Those are penalties usually. But we just got to get a little more efficient and work on that edge with our offense, with our offensive fronts. One of the reasons that Brian's our coach is because I really did everything that I could do to get him back here to call the plays. He's been with this team now going on 3 years. And so he knows the personnel, and he actually knows the defensive personnel as well. So that gave us a head start with him. He's been in the NFL for over 30 years. He grew up around the table. His father's one of the greatest coaches in the history of the league. So we got a guy that has all the experience in the world, very young, but getting to do it for the first time. Now, I buy into that. I love it no matter what the age. When you're doing it for the first time, wanting to show yourself, wanting to show them. I think we got some of that in Brian.
So, Jerry, you come into today, you got a new head coach, 3 new coordinators, a lot of new players, not just young, but some veterans. Your impressions of what you saw in training camp for the first time under this coaching staff?
Well, you hit on one thing that needs to be noted. If you are going to be different, then you've got to change from within. And while that represents a very accountable numbers game, which having those new faces in those spots, we've also asked the people around them on the staff. We've asked the people around them that support the staff, the scouting, player personnel, all of the areas, to look in the mirror and change what you're doing. I've always worked for myself. There's not but one cat that you got to straighten up when you work for yourself if you're going to change it, and that's the guy in the mirror. Now, the problem with taking him away, that's easy for everybody else, is that there's no place for you to go. You can't go away. And so the bottom line is there's some changes need to be made in that mirror. And we've done some things. We've done some things that I think will help us this season regarding not only what we've done in personnel, but in some of the ways that we're coaching them up for sure.
You know, Brian reminded of this the last day in training camp, that the Philadelphia game coming fast. Do you have a position that needs more clarity before you get to that season opener?
Well, frankly, with this game and this next week and then our last preseason game, we have several of them that need some more clarity. And we'll need some more clarity because on the way there, we'll have a surprise or two, whether it be talent or whether it be injury. We play in a game of attrition. So it'd be too naive to think that from where we are tonight after this game, that by the time we get to the first game, we won't have some real changes to make. But tonight is to see a lot of these young guys really compete. We've got to have them. We've got a third of the guys on the team. I'm roughing it now, but about a third that are new faces on this team. And that's the way it is around the NFL. That's a good thing. That's really a good thing. And so we've got the enthusiasm of someone that hadn't played in this stadium. That'll carry them to a level that maybe the older veteran guys don't have. That's the edge you need.
Jerry, you talked about the addition of George Pickens early in training camp and how much it has changed the offense. That was a huge move that you guys made this offseason that has helped change the whole complex whenever it comes to that offensive side of the ball. What does that tell you about making those big moves in the offseason and how much that can help a team with those guys around them?
Well, we've had success in years past with adding to an area that has real, I'd say, very good capability. Our quarterback receiver was pretty good before George got here with Lamb and, of course, with Dak. But then we like what we've got with our tight ends. But when you get a player that can come in and really create problems for the defense, plus just can make plays, then that does create more of a problem and better opportunity for the offense. We have that. You'd love to get that, ideally, from a young player that you're bringing along. But in this particular case, you look for the opportunity. George Pickens was there. For whatever the reason, he was there. And I'll tell you right now, he's melded in beautifully with this team. And I'm really proud for him. I think you're going to see an inspired player.
Could be the move of the offseason in the NFC if it continues looking like it has in Oxnard. Jerry Jones here on the sideline for Countdown to Kickoff. Thank you for taking some time, and good luck this afternoon, and we'll see you again next week as well.
I'm thankful. I interrupt you, but I'm so thankful for you that are watching out there. And I realize that we really need to win more games than we've won last year. and we need to get in that tournament, and we need to do well into that tournament. That's fresh, hard on my mind.
I like it, and I think everybody watching at home can agree with that. When we come back here on Countdown to Kickoff, we'll talk more about George Pickens and that Cowboys passing game. How does that affect the rest of the offense, and who's under pressure here in week number 2 of the preseason? Download the Cowboys Now app on your connected TV to get the latest news and programs all year long on your home TV. Download the Cowboys Now app today. Welcome back to AT&T Stadium. It's preseason week 2. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Dallas Cowboys. 6 o'clock kickoff on CBS 11 and your local stations. Alongside Mickey Spagnola, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Now joined by Nick Eatman. We just talked with Brian Schottenheimer, just talked with Jerry Jones, and both shared a sentiment that there's some excitement around this passing attack, and George Pickens is a big part of that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. When the Cowboys traded for him, everybody knew that they were getting a great player. We've all seen the highlights, but when you look at Dak Prescott, after a full training camp, he's been even better than Dak expected.
Yeah, honestly, more versatile than I would say that I thought before we got him, you know. And then now having him, as I've continued to say over and over, it's a guy that loves the game of football. So everything that you give him and the more you give him, he's going to answer that bell, and he wants more as much as he can. I'm surprised, but he does have every tool in the bag, and it's fun to be able to get out there and, as we just said, in different periods, different throws, different kind of routes, different coverages for him to make plays. Just show he's a big-time guy, and to have another guy like that alongside CD is just going to be fun.
And on our website, DallasCowboys.com, when we finished training camp, guys, we did a top 20 players of camp. Everybody voted. You guys voted. And number 1 was CeeDee Lamb. Number 3, George Pickens. And who was number 2? The guy giving him the football. I think what it shows is those 3 guys formed a really strong trio, and it kind of trickles down after that.
And then when it trickles down, one of the guys that Brian Schottenheimer had intentions to turn into a real wide receiver was Kevontae Turpin. No more gimmicks. Catching the ball down the field. I think you saw that.
And where did he finish on the list? 4th?
Number 4.
So you're right. I think it did show. It starts with CD, and he's certainly getting loud in here. But it started with CD, and then George Pickens, and then I think everyone's going to eat. And I think Ferguson's going to have some benefit from that. But just what Pickens provides, another guy that isn't playing tonight, that's even better.
So you got a bunch of young guys too trying to make it maybe as the 5th guy or force a 6th. There's some other young guys like Flanoy. You've got Holden,
yeah.
Jalen Brooks, who was on the team last year. How do you see maybe that working out?
And I like Mingo as well. I thought Mingo, he did some really nice things as well. But Trayshawn Holden's is very interesting because, when you look at where he came from Oregon with Junior Adams as his position coach, he was at Oregon, and it just seems like he was a step ahead of everybody. May not be the fastest receiver, but still, he gets open. And we've seen that, if you can get open and make plays. And so I'm anxious to see what he does. Kelly had a nice game last week too.
Yeah, Josh Kelly, undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech. The thing with these wide receivers, it's who is going to give you something different than what you have on your roster, with guys like Lamb, Pickens, complementing each other so much at the top of the depth chart. Who can complement you toward the bottom of the depth chart? And that might be the difference on what wide receiver 4, 5, 6 looks like.
Mickey, you've seen this for years. We've always talked about this. When you get to the very end of the wide receivers, it's not who can catch. It's not who can get open. It's who can tackle. who can actually play on special teams.
Yeah.
We've seen those over the years. The last guy at receiver is not the best guy in practice. He's the guy that's the gunner that gets down there and makes the tackle.
And that's a great point, because when you're watching these games, the guys that are on special teams are the guys trying to make the team. These are guys that are trying out just as much as whatever their box score is going to say with receptions, targets, and yards. Whatever they do on film from a special team standpoint is going to be big for this Cowboys team today. When we come back here on Countdown to Kickoff, we have an opportunity to look at some of these offensive linemen for the first time, including first-round pick Tyler Booker, who's suspected to start. This segment is brought to you by Ashley Home Store, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. Tyler Booker looking on. He is expected to start on that Cowboys offensive line, making his preseason debut with the Cowboys. And he is one of the gentlemen on this offensive line that Patrick Nosey Walker has had his eye on for quite some time. He is Patrick's American Airlines player to watch.
You know, I think Tyler this past week especially has made some really significant gains. And there's some things where I believe, you know, he needs to cut it loose and be measured. And we talk in our room quite often about playing to win as opposed to playing to not lose. But you talk about a professional who is at that young age and very pleased with his progression thus far.
Tyler Booker is a first-round pick, has impressed offensive line coach Connor Riley so far. Patrick, why is it important for a guy of his stature, a first-round pick, but also a rookie, to get some snaps here in the preseason?
For the two reasons you just mentioned. He's a first-round pick, and he's a rookie. So the reps are going to be integral for getting him up to speed so he can hit the ground running. You got the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions. You have to visit their home field in week 1. You need Tyler Booker ready to go. So the more reps he can get, the sooner he can hit the field, the better.
So how important also is it that you'll have Booker out there, Cooper Beebe, and Nate Thomas?
I think it's monumental, Mickey, because you talk about chemistry. That's exactly what you need. This interior offensive line, you got young guys. Cooper Beebe, he's a year 2 guy. You got Tyler Smith. You know what Tyler Smith's going to be. But with Tyler Booker being a first-year guy, they have to have cohesion. The best way to get cohesion as an offensive line group is to play reps together. So it's no coincidence that while Tyler Booker is also playing in this game, Cooper Beebe will take the field as well.
You know, there's part of me I would like to see all 5 of them out there. I don't think it's going to happen. But not gonna happen. Very important, though, are the guys come in after those, because they got to find their backups to be able to finish off this offensive line room.
Yes, still very much working through their depth situation as Tyler Guyton continues to recover from his knee injury, and he's making great progress. But in his absence, what is Nate Thomas able to do? Nate Thomas was impressive over the course of training camp in Oxnard, showed some things against the Rams. Can he take a step forward? You have other guys. You have younger guys, Johnny Cornelius, Hakeem Adeniji, and some of these other cats that need to step in and show that they can make some impact.
And on the offensive line, just as we heard Kendrick Lamar say a minute ago, you need a little extra mustard up front. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these starting lineups and with these offensive linemen. It has been tough, though, to really see a cohesion across the front because of the injuries that have suffered either at camp and then through that first preseason game as well. Why is that such a challenge for this team to keep guys on the field up front, and how does that change their thought process when looking and evaluating these guys?
Well, whenever you're talking about playing in the trenches, you're going to be at a high risk for injury. That's just how football goes at every level of the game, especially in the NFL. But it behooves all 32 teams, especially the Dallas Cowboys, coming off of a season they had where they were ravaged by injury, to establish depth. So you love what you see from a guy like Brock Hoffman going into this year. TJ Bass, he's going to get reps at center today against the Baltimore Ravens. The Cowboys are doing what they can with versatility, flexibility. They're trying to shore up the depth behind the front 5, and they're going to need to make sure they do so.
You know, and the good thing is with Nate Thomas, he only got like 10 snaps in that first game. So he needs to play, right? This guy has not played a down of real football since 2023 when he was at Louisiana on the IR all last year.
And to that point, this is a guy who's trying to leave an imprint on this year's camp. He struggled a little bit in last year's camp as a Cowboys late-round pick. They parted ways with him later in the season. They brought him back. This is another shot for him, and I think that he's taking full advantage of it.
And they really like what they've seen so far. That's why they put him in place of Tyler Guyton when Guyton went down to injury. Patrick, thanks so much. You can catch Patrick on Talking Cowboys Monday through Friday as soon as the regular season gets underway at 9 a.m. Central Time. When we come back here on Countdown to Kickoff, who has the most to prove in preseason week 2, especially at the running back position? This segment was brought to you by Ashley Home Store, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Some of the quarterbacks, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, in the spotlight. Yes, Dak Prescott has his pads on. No, you cannot expect Dak Prescott to play here in preseason game number 2. As we welcome you back to Countdown to Kickoff, Nicky Spagnola, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Tommy Yarish of DallasCowboys.com just got back from the entire month on the West Coast, and you've kept your eye on these running backs throughout the entirety of training camp. But we might see some newcomers in preseason game too.
Yeah, we sure have, and Brian Schottenheimer's kept his eye on those running backs too. Here's what he had to say earlier this week about that running back room coming into tonight.
Most of those guys are trending in the right direction. We'll find out a little bit today. Today should be a really good practice, a chance to see some of those guys bounce back, just all the guys that are trending in the right direction. But again, until we see how today goes and how they look, we won't really know. Got a couple days to make that decision.
And so they had a couple of practices to get a look at some guys, see what the deal was in terms of coming back from injury. Jaden Blue, who you see right there, will not play tonight. That injury is not meant to be severe. It's not thought to be severe, but he did not practice all week, the rookie 5th-round pick out of Texas, so will not play tonight. Maybe next week in the final preseason game against the Atlanta Falcons, he'll take the field. But Miles Sanders will play tonight, the free agent the Cowboys signed after he spent the last 2 years in Carolina, as well as the rookie Phil Maffa that you saw right there. Javonte Williams more than likely will not play tonight as well. So it's going to be a heavy dosage of Sanders, who will probably get the start tonight, Deuce Vaughn, and then Phil Maffa, the 7th-round pick out of Clemson, who had some good carries last week. And, of course, Malik Davis, who, coming off of 28 hours of preparation, signed with the Cowboys and then 28 hours later lead the team in rushing. They'll all get some run tonight. But excited to see Miles Sanders here first. His first game as a Dallas Cowboy in need of a bounce-back season.
Yeah, and I think he probably needs a good performance, because if you look at when he got hurt, Jaden Blue went from second team to taking first team snaps. So Sanders needs to produce. But the guy I want you to tell people about is Phil Maffa. You know, you're a 7th-round pick, and everybody goes, oh, he's a 7th-round pick. But he didn't play like a 7th-round pick.
No, he did not. And, I mean, you go back and watch his college tape at Clemson, and this guy can really run the football well. He was a bell cow during his last season for the Tigers, and Dabo Swinney really leaned on him heavily. And you can see that in that first preseason game, he can handle this kind of workload, right? This is a guy, you see the numbers right there, 6 foot, 234 pounds, one of the stockier, if not the stockiest guy in that room, just in terms of pure size, and he can run like it too. So this is a guy that you can give a lot of touches to, and he's going to be able to physically handle the wear and tear of getting 15, 20 touches a game, because he did that in college. Now, the NFL level is a little bit different, of course. It might take a little bit more time to adjust to that level of physicality, but this is a guy who has gotten his fair share of licks coming up to the NFL, and certainly didn't play like a 7th-round pick last week. We'll see what he does tonight.
So, Kyle, he told me this past week that, you know, he played through at Clemson a torn labrum. And anybody knows about a torn labrum, you got to turn your shoulder because you don't want that to get hit. He is playing free now for the first time in quite some time, and I think he's made an impression on this coaching staff.
Well, and the confidence level showed last week, not only when he toted the rock and had those run carries, it was the pass protection I was impressed with, picking up the blitz, getting in front of a defender. He did a good job. Not when he was just running the football, but when he was behind the line of scrimmage in his preseason debut. Now, you mentioned not going to see Javonte Williams, or possibly not to see Javonte Williams again today. What does that say about his status? Is he the RB1 as a part of this Cowboys offense already?
It would certainly seem like it. I mean, and you look back at the training camp reps that the first team got. Javonte Williams was always the first one out there. You know, this guy, 4 years in Denver, was able to be a lead back his rookie season, suffers a big knee injury, and he's slowly but surely been coming back from that. I think this staff is confident in what they've seen in Javonte Williams, and the fact that he didn't play the first game and more than likely won't play tonight is a good sign that this might be your starting running back. But the question is, do they feel confident to make him a bell cow, or will they split up the carries between guys like Sanders, Blue, and Maffa if he continues to perform well in the preseason?
I love running back battles in the preseason. You get an opportunity to really see what these guys are made of. That's why there are American Airlines players to watch. Tommy Yarish, thanks so much for stopping by. You can catch him on DallasCowboys.com. When we come back, undrafted free agents tend to make storylines this time of year. Who is that guy making the storylines in 2025 as an undrafted free agent? This segment was brought to you by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Closing into kickoff, the Cowboys and Ravens preseason week number 2. one of my favorite parts of the preseason and of training camp are the unlikely heroes and storylines that we get to see uncovered in Oxnard and then as the team returns home. And Nicole Hutchison joins us now about one of those unlikely heroes that has shown up on the practice field.
Yeah, Trayshawn Holden, someone who, when he gets opportunities, he makes you pay attention, right? He had a one-hand grab in the red zone earlier this camp with Joe Milton's pass. He also had a big play down the right sideline. So something similar we also saw in the preseason game against the Rams, but he's a guy that came in and said that he's coming for people's heads and he's making the most of every opportunity. He looks forward to doing that again today.
No guarantees, no promises, just production. That's Trayshawn Holden, a name turning heads in Dallas.
Every day he makes a play, and we kind of saw that they were playing some cloud to that side, some cover two, and Joe made a beautiful throw into the hole shot. And Trayshawn's done that every day in practice, literally every day. There's been one or two big plays, and when you do that, you get noticed, and when you do that, you get more opportunities. And just proud of him.
From spring workouts to training camp, Holden's been stacking days, dependable hands, precise routes, and the kind of work ethic that's hard to ignore. And now it's paying off early. In his first NFL preseason game against the Rams, he finished as the team's leader in receiving yards.
Joe Milton fires downfield. That's Trayshawn Holden inside the 20-yard line.
It felt great. Like, just watch. I ain't gonna lie, still while I'm watching the catch to this day. The best thing for me, I feel like, consistency and availability. That's what keeps you on the field. That's what keeps you making a roster. So, like, I've dreamed of this since I was a little kid. So it's like, keep going from now,
Keep going. That's been the motivating message for him since he arrived in Dallas. Holden signed a 3-year, $2.9 million contract, non-guaranteed, just a team-low $3,000 signing bonus.
I'm the ultimate competitor. Like, when I walk on the field, I'm the best player on the field. So, like, just having that mindset, and when I went undrafted, I came in the building angry, like.
And him competing has only made it easier with the reunion of his former college coach.
I've been with Trey now going on year 3. I'm happy with his growth right now. And if the last few practices, now he's put together some really good practices for us. And, my thing to him is just being consistent and keep stacking days.
He's a gamer, man. He loves to compete. He loves to play the game, and he finds a way of getting open. And, there's instincts, there's route running skills that he has. But I do think that, the relationship with Junior has made him very comfortable in the beginning. So his focus can be more on, okay, I got to learn the system and what we're doing.
And with that comfort comes a chance to rewrite a story, one Holden's ready to write himself.
The narrative around my name coming out of college was, it was negative. And I'm trying to prove everybody that that's not who I am, and prove the coaches that y'all picked up a dog.
Talking about that narrative around his name in the 2025 NFL draft, his stock kind of dropped because of the off-the-field issues, but he said he's grown so much just being here in Dallas. CeeDee Lamb, guys like George Pickens, and even, of course, his former college coach, Junior Adams, have really taken him under his wing, helped him with his mentality. Guys, he also told me that, CeeDee Lamb, one message that he told him was that, you're going to feel every emotion in the NFL. He said he felt it the first day of camp. He dropped a pass. CeeDee Lamb said, hey, tighten up, get it together, and he that's kind of stood with him the whole time. So certainly leaning on those older guys in that room, which it's going to be a big battle for those guys.
These next 2 preseason games tonight, especially, really important for him. Practice is one thing, but you got to do it when the lights come on.
Yeah, he's shown us, though. He's shown that he's a physical receiver. He uses his frame well for those contested catches. We saw him in training camp, also in the preseason opener against the Rams. This is a room where you have guys like Jonathan Mingo, who's kind of built that chemistry with Dak Prescott. Kavontae Turpin, we've seen him get more opportunities as camp goes on, listed as the 3 wide receiver right now. Jalen Tolbert, of course, as well. This is a big room. You don't know if they're going to keep 5 or 6 guys at receiver. So, yeah, Trayshawn Holden so far has made a case. We'll see if it's worth it.
And that's the thing. He's going to have to show out in these games for a chance at making the team. Nicole Hutchison joining us here on Countdown Countdown to Kickoff. When we come back, we wrap up things on the field, and we'll give you a couple position battles to look at, including some starters making their preseason debut. More to come from Countdown to Kickoff as the Ravens and Cowboys prepare for the second preseason game of 2025. Be sure to download the Cowboys Now app on your connected TV and watch all your favorite Cowboys content all season long, just like us today. Countdown to Kickoff. Baltimore Ravens and Dallas Cowboys from AT&T Stadium. It's preseason week number 2. Alongside Mickey Spagnola, I'm Kyle Yeomans, wrapping up the field portion of Countdown to Kickoff by telling you some of the positions to keep an eye on. Mickey, I'll let you start it off. You said some position groups and battles last week. Does that change going into this second matchup?
You know, I think the Cowboys understand who the starting 5 are on the offensive line, but you need backups, and that's what this game and next week's about. You got to be able to have 10 guys, so don't leave early. Watch when the backups come in that second half. Is Awesome Richards your backup swing tackle guard? Can Akeem Adeniji be a backup tackle? TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman, who's the backup center? That stuff's going to get worked out in games like this.
You're starting with that offensive line, and I do not disagree. Getting to see some of those starters up front will be huge to see exactly where they are and give you a good benchmark against the good defensive front from Baltimore, even despite it being some starters and some second-team players on the Ravens side of things. I want to look at these corners, though, from the Cowboys element, because Matt Eberflus showed it last week. They're going to keep things simple. So if you're keeping it simple, it's going to make things tough on your secondary. Guys like Israel Mukwamu made a big play last week. I want to see who steps up today, because it's not always the easiest when you're playing cover 4, cover 3 only on that defensive end, and they're going to have a chance to do so here this evening.
And it's more important at the cornerback position, because you don't know if your starters, or like a Trayvon Diggs, Siobhan Revel, are those guys going to be ready to play? Because if they're not, these guys you're going to see tonight are going to be awfully important when they hit Philadelphia for the opener.
Some starters that are reported to be on the field tonight. How about Kyer Elam at the quarterback position? Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, both at linebacker. And then edge rusher Sam Williams will get some run today after he sustained an injury last training camp. This is his first game action in nearly 2 years as a Cowboys edge rusher. Good to see a lot of those defensive guys back in the fold, so we'll keep a close eye on Matt Eberflus's unit as we get ready for kickoff. When we come back to AT&T Stadium, kickoff is near. We go to the booth and join Bill Jones, Isaiah Stanback, who will have the call for Ravens and Cowboys. Kickoff is coming right up.
We are counting down to kickoff here at AT&T Stadium as the fans make their way in for the preseason home opener. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Couple of minutes left here on countdown to kickoff as Joe Milton will get the start at quarterback for the Cowboys. Cooper Rush, the former Cowboy, going for the Baltimore Ravens. Bill Jones along with former Cowboy Isaiah Stanback here in the Globe Life broadcast booth at AT&T Stadium as we get you ready for kickoff. And how about we talk about the linebacker position on this team? A guy who flashed last season as a rookie and last week against the Rams from the opening kickoff on was Maris Leofau, and Isaiah had a chance to catch up with Maris.
Coach always emphasizes our play style over scheme, and I couldn't agree more with that as a defensive player. That's kind of what I live by, and I feel like if that bleeds throughout the team, we're gonna do great things.
The second-year man out of Notre Dame, third-round draft pick last year, and we really saw him. He got an opportunity last season to start games, and you can tell Matt Eberflus really likes Maris Leofau.
I mean, what is there not to like about him? He has a good size, he has great energy, great effort, he's a smart kid, and he has relentless pursuit of the ball at all times. He is literally a coach's dream when you think about a linebacker in this league. He's young, as you mentioned, but these preseason games are giving him plenty of experience to be able to have the confidence to go out there and be a contributor for this defense.
How about what the Cowboys have done with that linebacking core in general, not only with Leah Fowl, who's been getting first-team reps, but you got Jack Sanborn. You're going to see him on the field tonight. Kenneth Murray came over, a former first-round draft pick in a trade with the Tennessee Titans. Damone Clark back. They've got a good group at linebacker, don't they?
Yeah, you take one of the defensive rooms that was probably the slimmest in terms of depth, and now all of a sudden you have a complete 180 and you turn it on its head. You just mentioned a lot of those names, and then they went ahead and drafted somebody by bringing in Shamar James. So those guys are really, really deep in terms of the linebacker position. I like their size. I like their mobility and the versatility that they have now with Coach Eberflus in this defense.
You know, and going up against this Ravens team is going to be a good test tonight, even though backups will be playing for the Ravens. But the scheme that they have on offense, you know the Ravens love to run the football.
Yeah, these guys are going to be coming downhill. You talk about the number one rush offense from last year. It is not all about the running back, Big Derrick Henry. It's about that offensive line. And these guys are going to see some of those starters today in the game. So you're going to have a great opportunity to see exactly where your guys match up versus one of the best in the league.
All right, and we're going to see more players who will be on that roster in the regular season in tonight's game than we did a week ago. We'll be back in just a moment with the call of tonight's game. It's the Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens. Thanks for joining us here for Countdown to Kickoff. The kickoff is straight ahead.